going to jail, bitch.
Welcome to our channel. Today we will be taking a closer look at an unusual incident that has recently captured the attention of the internet. A large explosion at an airport has gone viral, causing a lot of debate and discussion on social media. What led to this explosive scene and why has it captured the world's attention? Let's take a look. Okay, to start today's video, we'll see a crazy Karen at the airport and the retribution she got. It's on January 6, 2024, at an airport in Georgia. Amid what can only be described as chaos, a Delta Airlines passenger suffered what many called a breakdown at the airport. This was no ordinary passenger. She became a viral sensation due to her profanity and emotional rant. But what caused this backlash? The incident occurred when the passenger, in a state of frustration and distress, was allegedly kicked off the flight. Her complaints were not only about being kicked off the plane, but also about feeling ignored and misunderstood by airline staff. To better understand the situation, let's delve into the story behind it. According to the report, the passenger was dealing with a personal health issue, which she described in her outburst as related to her period. According to her, this condition exacerbated her distress, and she felt that the staff's response lacked empathy. Unfortunately, medical issues and complications while traveling are not uncommon, but they often come with additional layers of stress. In this case, the combination of physical discomfort and the indifference of airline staff pushed the passenger to the brink of despair. The moment of outburst was a whirlwind of strong emotions and words. The passenger's complaint, which was captured on video and widely shared online, included a series of profanities and accusations. Her frustration was directed at the airline staff, whom she blamed for her predicament. The language used in the video is harsh and detailed, reflecting her deep frustration. The intensity of her words and the raw emotion conveyed make it clear that this was not a simple complaint but a dramatic expression of distress. Reactions to the outburst were swift and varied. Passengers present at the airport joined in and tried to defuse the situation, but the woman quickly approached and began swearing at him. The incident sparked a wider discussion about customer service, empathy, and the pressures of air travel. The footage ends as airport security staff arrive and escort the woman out of the airport lounge. For passengers, the viral video has certainly left a mark on her public image. Regardless of whether the airline's response was adequate, the incident serves as a reminder of the highly stressful nature of travel and the importance of effective communication and empathy. When faced with a problem, instead of resolving it calmly, Karen chose to express her frustration and discontent by yelling and cursing at the airport staff and passengers, which violated the legal framework of Article 161139 of the Georgia Penal Code, which is a public nuisance that includes causing noise harassment or disorderly conduct in a public place. This is an action that can be prosecuted if the offender causes a public nuisance at the airport. Her actions not only resulted in her being immediately removed from the airport, but also resulted in a penalty of up to 1 year in prison and a fine of $1,000 for disorderly conduct. If security had not promptly stopped her actions, it could have led to more serious legal charges. Buckle up as we continue to dig deeper into an incident that occurred on a commercial flight in the second case, where the confrontational behavior of two Karens left everyone involved in shock. On November 23rd, 2021, on a flight in Florida, passengers were expecting a smooth journey from point A to point B, but as tensions over health and safety protocols escalated, the situation took a dramatic turn. This is the story of how a seemingly minor disagreement led to a confrontation that no one saw coming. Mask, a topic that has become increasingly contentious in recent years. As the flight was flying comfortably at 35,000 feet, an altercation broke out between a passenger and an elderly man. And the fight began when a woman, later referred to as Karen in multiple media reports, noticed an older man not wearing a mask. With COVID-19 protocols still in place in many places, this is a sensitive issue. The verbal confrontation quickly escalated. The woman's frustration boiled over, leading her to confront the man in an aggressive manner as he continued to argue about wearing a mask. Voices rang out in the atmosphere and the cabin grew tense. In a fit of rage, the woman attacked the older man. Witnesses reported that she punched him in the face, a shocking and violent act that shocked everyone around her.
Ass up. Don't you dare talk to me like that. You stand, step up. Stand your ass up.
down. Sit down, Karen.
Sit down, pussy.
Listen, you're the Karen. They spit on me. They double going to jail. Bitch.
As if the fight wasn't enough, she became even more aggressive. In a fit of rage, she spat in the man's face. This blatant act of disrespect and aggression left the elderly man distressed and the other passengers horrified. Flight attendants and other passengers quickly intervened, attempting to defuse the situation and restore order. The quick actions of the crew played a vital role in handling the aftermath of the fight.
Oh, no, you're the dick.
Do you want the police to be trouble?
What about him?
Ask them now. Put
Mask up.
your mask up.
Mask up. Tell him to mask up. Tell him to
You got
mask
your
up.
mask down, bitch.
Sir,
Yes, I did.
stop it again.
Now you're going to jail. That's assault. You're going to jail. As soon as we get in Atlanta, you're going to jail, bitch.
Flight attendants are trained to handle conflicts and emergencies, but no amount of training can fully prepare them for such extreme situations. Their primary focus in these moments is to ensure the safety and well-being of all passengers. As the situation unfolded, security personnel were called in to deal with the woman's behavior.
You fucking piece of shit.
Piece of pussy, sit down, Karen. Sit down, Karen. Sit down, fucking Karen. She punched me. She
Put your
slashed my
fucking
face.
mask on. Tell him his mask on. Put your fucking
She
mask
punched me.
on.
She scratched my face. I wanted to fuck
Put
out
your
of here.
fucking mask on. Put your fucking mask
Put
on.
yours on, bitch.
I will put my mask on. I will put my mask on when you put your mask.
She was escorted off the plane upon landing and the authorities were notified. Her actions not only violated airline policy, but also violated legal regulations regarding assault and public nuisance. Beyond the immediate physical effects, confrontations like these can have lasting psychological effects on those involved. Mental health professionals stress the importance of addressing trauma and seeking support after such traumatic experiences. While the debate over mask wearing continues, it is important to approach disagreements with respect and understanding. Following protocols and resolving conflicts calmly can help prevent escalation into violence. In this case, both the victim and Karen have committed actions that put them both in violation of the legal framework. For the man, it was a sensitive time during the COVID pandemic. He disregarded the health of himself and those around him and did not comply with the regulations on the flight. And in Chapter 120, Section 569 of the Florida statutes provides for administrative procedures, which includes procedures for enforcing regulations and imposing penalties on individuals and organizations that fail to comply with state regulations. Here is an overview of the main content of Chapter 120 and how it applies to non-compliance with health and safety regulations. His actions resulted in him receiving an administrative penalty based on the severity of the situation. And for Karen, although her actions were in a good direction, her actions of hitting and spitting on the man's face landed her in serious legal trouble. In Chapter 784.045, aggravated battery defines aggravated battery is battery with an aggravating factor such as causing serious injury but does not require the use of a weapon. Aggravating factors may include causing serious bodily injury or attacking the victim in a situation where the victim was likely to suffer serious bodily harm. Karen's actions resulted in her facing up to 15 years in prison and a maximum fine of $10,000 for a second-degree felony. And to conclude this video, we bring you a story of tension, misunderstandings, and a flight that almost didn't take off. On November 2nd, 2023, at an airport in Florida, passengers were on their way to their destination. Among the passengers boarding the plane was a woman whose frustration would soon shatter the calm of a routine flight. As she walked down the jet bridge and onto the plane, no one could have predicted the chaos that was about to ensue. Our story begins in the cramped space of an airplane, where passengers were looking for seats and putting away their belongings. Among them was our protagonist, a woman who was clearly restless from the moment she entered the cabin. She went to her assigned seat and immediately expressed her dissatisfaction. Her restlessness was evident when she realized she was sitting next to another passenger. The woman's restlessness increased as she noticed something about her seatmate that made her feel uncomfortable. The woman turned to a flight attendant, her frustration evident. She began voicing her concerns, arguing that sitting next to this particular passenger posed a health risk to her. Her assertion centered on the fact that the person sitting next to her was allegedly unvaccinated. In her view, this was not only an inconvenience but also a serious threat to her health. The flight attendant, trained to handle such situations professionally, attempted to calm the woman. She explained that the airline had a policy in place and that they were following all necessary regulations. And unfortunately, the woman's agitation made any calm resolution difficult. As the conversation escalated, so did the woman's threats. She threatened to call the police, accusing the crew of violating her rights and breaking the law. Her demands became more insistent. She wanted another seat or she would call law enforcement. Although the flight attendant tried to explain that they could not simply move passengers on a crowded flight, the woman's frustration did not subside. She continued to insist that the presence of an unvaccinated passenger next to her violated her rights and her safety. The situation became more complicated when the woman insisted on seeing proof of vaccination from her seatmate, a request that the airline's policy did not support. As the situation escalated, other passengers began to take notice and looked on with concern, while others appeared frustrated by the disruption. The cabin, once filled with the quiet hum of pre-flight routine, became tense. The woman's insistence that her health was in danger and her repeated accusations that the airline was breaking the law continued to escalate the conflict. Her refusal to comply with instructions led to a confrontation that threatened to delay the flight. At this point, the flight captain, who had remained calm despite the escalating situation, made a crucial decision. He informed the woman that if she could not accept her seat, she would have to leave the aircraft. The crew had to prioritize the safety and comfort of all passengers, and a disruptive passenger posed a significant risk to both. The decision was made to remove the disruptive passenger from the aircraft. As she was escorted off the aircraft, the tension in the cabin began to dissipate. Hey Karen's disruptive behavior on board had immediately put her in legal trouble. In Florida statutes, Chapter 877.03 defines disorderly conduct as conduct that causes a disturbance of public order and can include a variety of actions. This is a criminal offense and can result in serious legal penalties. For her actions, the woman was immediately removed from the plane. Karen's actions could also result in a fine of up to $500 and 60 days in jail, depending on the severity of the situation. All right, fellas, what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more interesting and educational content in the future. Thanks for your support.